Hello, good racing fans. Welcome to Behind the Lines here at Hoosier Park for a rather interesting night of racing action. And tonight with us, our guest, driver Peter Wrenn, our second leading driver here at Hoosier Park for 2015. Good to have you here, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Good to be here.
Was that you coming north on 69 tonight, doing about 30 miles an hour, had traffic stacked up behind you?
Yeah, that was me in golf cart style. I was on the side of the road with flashers on. I'm not sure if I could make it or not.
Don't you hate when that happens? Hey, it's good to have you here anyways. Peter, of course, again, is our second leading driver and has been a mainstay here at Hoosier Park for quite some time. And we've got some questions for you here, Peter. One other thing that I didn't give you heads up on before we came on the air, I had your wife send us some video and some pictures of your well, how do I want to say this? Your sideline, if you will, with the cutting horses, I guess.
Oh yeah, the Wrenn deal there at Congress. Maybe
yes. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But first of all, did some research here this morning on Pathway. Where did you start your harness racing action? Where did you cut your teeth, I guess?
Well, the dirt tracks in Michigan. I was raised in it through my father. We had a track, lucky enough to have a training track at the farm that we competed in, and so forth. Learned the stage there, and then went out to a few matinees when I was younger and learned the fair program, and couldn't wait to just jump in it full bore.
Sure. So it's a family thing.
Oh, for sure it was. Always was.
Okay. And according to the stats here, you started your driving career when you were at the young age of 15 years old back in 1978. Looks like you had a pretty good first year, 16 starts in your first year out. 3 wins, a second and a third. Not a bad way to get things started. 9,512 wins later, you're still getting the job done, and some $64 million in career earnings thus far. How has the driving style changed since you started driving back in '78? The sports driving style.
Well, now we got to drive with speed. The speed goes consistently. It's not quite as more conservative. When I was starting out, the drivers and trainers did their own, and so forth, and they knew what they had. And now it's it's speed, and it's got a carry, and it's a little faster motion.
Okay, good deal. As far as your own driving style, have you seen a change in your own driving style as the sport has progressed along? Or,
well, I was a little spoiled there a while back because I used to get a lot of really good mounts, and I didn't even mess with the batter with the the ones and that. But now I'm happy to have whatever I get, and it says so my style's the power's not there quite as much.
Well, speaking of power, you've got a pretty nice 3-year-old, or at least I think he's a pretty nice 3-year-old, a rookie, a son of Real Desire. You raced him in the Sire Stakes the other night. Any high hopes for this colt?
Yeah, he's just always been a green handler. He's a little bit immature. He probably don't handle like a top horse.
Well, he's a 3-year-old rookie.
Yeah. But if he gets matures where I can handle him the way a good horse does, he's got that shot of being. But otherwise, I do think he's going to be a good older horse. There's no doubt he's come a long ways, and he's got tremendous speed. He just needs to operate the way you'd like him to.
Okay, so he's just still learning the ropes and trying to figure out what this thing's all
mental.
about.
It's all mental and mentally immature. He's not really a crazy horse. He's just things come a little slowly mentally to him.
Sure.
That's all.
Fool's Desire, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay,
right,
Fool's Desire. Where do you train your horses at, Peter?
Wife and I, we got a system there at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Set up there. We got like 17 horses and mostly young horses. We as a rule, we don't have maybe just a couple over 3. Basically, that'd be it. And this past winter, I went to Florida and we left some equipment down there. So I guess I get to go again another year.
Good idea. It certainly is. Take me through your typical day. Get up in the morning and responsible to do what as far at the barn?
Yeah, well, I go through when I get in the barn in the morning. I'll have my coffee on the way. That's it.
There you go.
Basically, first thing in the morning, I'll start in by just jumping on some. I'll have the board rode out and start going with basics.
Okay.
Just like any trainer would do, and do the training and the jogging and go through some horses that need to be looked at, and then talk to the blacksmith, and then the end's day, and then maybe go grab a little lunch. If sometimes maybe a little rest, or otherwise, I try to stay in shape a little bit. I'll work out, or maybe go to play some golf, and then come in here and race.
Long day's work.
Oh yeah, well, but I'm fortunate enough to have that.
Sure.
If you're not working something's wrong.
I understand. So we talked about the family aspect earlier. Ronnie Wrenn Jr., the second leading driver of the country right now, assuming relative.
Yeah. He's a nephew of mine,
okay.
And great talent. It's funny. As a young, he was going through just before I came here. He had no interest in horses, and
really?
It was never pushed by my brother to make him like it. He just whatever he wanted to do, he did. And he never come near him, and he grabbed the talent, and he got the bug, I guess you would say. And once he came over to my farm there in Michigan and started hacking around and learned the ropes, and boy, he just caught right on. It was so natural for him. It's crazy, and he's really well-liked, hard worker, and I'd say he's a great talent, good asset to the business.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. You've driven some very good trotters and some very good pacers over the course of your career. What's the best trotter that you think that you've ever sat behind?
Well, I was lucky enough to win a couple Breeders' Crowns, and one of them was a upset over Moneymaker once.
Really?
Yeah, in the Breeders' Crown at Wrenn. In fact, I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and her name was Personal Banner, and she was owned by George Steinbrenner, and they had the big deal going on at Vernon there, because Moneymaker was supposed to win it, and she hadn't been beaten.
Right.
She was a hometown favorite at the time, but I hate to miss, I really hated to disappoint everybody, but that was quite a feat, especially with a trotter at the time.
Sure.
And it was a real nice asset.
Sure. Pacer-wise, I know you've driven some very high-powered pacers. One that comes to mind off the top of my head, Hi-Ho Silver Heels. Very nice.
Great horse. I've been lucky enough to sit behind a lot of great horses at least once. And but him consistently there for a while, and he won a lot of really great races, and we had a lot of national fun with him. But one particular is when we came in here going for a sub 50 mark, which was unheard of, and that was in probably, I'm going to guess, I came back from the East Coast back to Michigan probably around 97 or so, and we decided to bring him down here for an invitational and try to get a sub 50, because there really wasn't at that time a lot of sub 50 horses.
Right.
And we had gotten it done, and I remember the grandstand. I shipped them in from Michigan that week, and the grandstand was just overloaded with people just cheering and hooting and hollering, watching the timer. And and Indiana's never seen a sub 50. I think that was a sub 50, I believe, the first time, and that was pretty chilling and memorable, I thought.
So the best pacer?
Oh, yeah.
Hate to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, there again, I've been fortunate, at least once sat behind a lot of great ones, and it's been a lot of fun. I always thought he, in his day, even though he was a little freaky because he did stuff abnormal and he had some issues, and he wouldn't. But when he was on top of his game, even when he came to East Coast, I thought he was the best 3-year-old in the country at the time, and there was a lot of good ones. I mean, he blew really, really good horses, made him look pretty ordinary, He was ahead of himself.
Sure. The biggest win in your career, I know you said you've won several Breeders' Crowns. Any one big win that really sticks out in your mind?
Oh, like you said, the first Breeders' Crown, when it was always kind of long shots in the bigger races, so forth, upsetting. The Jugette was fun. I was lucky enough to win that. My daughter was just born, not just a few weeks before that.
Really?
That was fun. Yeah, she was in the winner's circle as a baby. That was cool.
What was the filly's name?
Chuck Sylvester trained her.
That's not a big deal.
No, well, it is, but I should know. But anyways, she was a nice filly.
Sure. Your most, along the same lines, your most disappointing loss, perhaps?
Oh, probably my last one.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I think last night I had 2 or 3 of them, and hopefully tonight there won't be any. I guarantee you that.
Oh, boy. Hey, how long is the Hoosier Park stretch?
Too long and not long enough sometimes, but this is a long stretch. You got tight turns for a big track, and once you come off that turn, it's really a long stretch. And
it is.
And sometimes, in a long stretch, you don't have to really start using your horse till halfway through. But in this stretch here, there's a lot of fresh ones like third or fourth over, but there's a lot of fresh ones coming at you right away too. So if you want to lead at the head of the stretch, you got to earn it all the way to the wire.
1,255 feet. It's the third longest in the industry. And the reason I ask that, Peter, you have a knack. You've got this stretch down. Believe me, I've been here for 17 years now, and you have the knack winning a race in the last 10 feet. You've got this thing figured out. I've just been amazed watching you night after night after night, getting there at the last second. What's that all about?
I don't know. I don't know. I keep looking at my fines, and I think, well, I don't think it's from that. I don't know. I'm sure it's not from kicking or from anything like that. So no, I don't know. No, I swear to God, I don't know. I'm just lucky to have a nice little horsepower at the end. You know, that's the biggest thing. So
sure. Well, you did a great job out there, Peter. Bike-wise, today's world, it seems like it's a lot of hype about the different bikes out there, the sulkies. What is your preference? What do you use?
Well, you know, you try to stay at the times, and there was a new one that came out this year. It's the same bike that the same person that made Spider.
Okay.
And then he went with he went with the Ghost, and now I got one that's I had the first one here. It's called the Gorilla.
Okay.
Nice looking bike.
Uh-huh.
You know, good paint job, and
doesn't go fast,
and it sits well, and you know, it looks cool back there in the paddock, so everybody wants to use it. And then you know, I mean, they're really a good bike, and I got a UFO. That's a good bike too. So
what do you like about
two others? But
what do you like about the Gorilla? I mean,
people are grabbing it and putting it on their horse, you know, and I like that. You know, I mean, seriously, that's whatever anybody wants. I got the variety back there, and I was sitting them all. I think Gorilla's probably right now the overall, you know, best bike.
Okay.
At one time, like we had this was quite a while ago. We had the Cheetah, which I thought was a very good bike.
Right.
You know, and then that got banned. And this one here does remind me a little bit of the Cheetah.
Really?
Yeah. And the UFO, that's a nice bike on certain horses, and you know, the equipment
horses.
the equipment really has changed, and it's, you know, it's changed to the better. It's more modified, easier to pull. You know, it's a well balanced bike, and they've got that down to a science more than I know about it.
So that brings me to my next question: What one piece of equipment do you think has revolutionized harness racing since the day that you've started?
Oh, definitely. You know, definitely the
race bike.
The race bike, yes.
And back in the day, you didn't. Did you have your own race bike?
No, and we didn't. And then I just can't believe we hadn't, because it just makes sense having your own race bike. We used to use whatever the trainers would bring to us.
Right.
And you know,
so sometimes you were doubled up. Sometimes you couldn't reach the stirrups.
Couldn't reach the stirrups, and you know, it was pretty ununiform that way. You just didn't know. I know short guys, heck, they used to sit on the arch almost. You know, one guy in Detroit there, he used to sit on the arch on some bikes. He couldn't reach the stirrups, and why he didn't have his own, I don't know. But we never thought anything of it.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's just common sense.
Common sense.
Yeah, you have your own bike. It makes all the sense in the world. What one thing would you change in harness racing that you think could improve the sport?
You know, whatever. I think that question really should be asked by fans, because you know, we try to stay at the change as fast as we can. I mean, horses are gotten so much faster. Babies, we were talking this morning. I mean, you watch these things baby race anymore. They just go so fast.
Right.
You know, how do you prepare for something like that? But as far as really changing, you know, whatever the fan base, whatever we can draw towards them to bring more fans, I think that's a question that should be asked to the fans as a pool.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that.
Us, yeah.
That's a great idea. As an experienced driver, and that's not saying that you're old by no means.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
What advice would you give to a young aspiring driver, a young guy that's coming along?
You know, I don't know. I know my nephew, you know, when he got going, Ronnie, he every day he was asking me this, and I tried to lead him in the right direction, and we'd get him, you know, and try, because there's a lot of great talent out there who don't have a shot. Or don't get the chance. I guess don't have a shot. They don't have a chance.
Okay.
And, you know, and in order to get a chance, you got to show that you can prove yourself to win.
Right.
And, you know, that was one of those things. He was looking to go to, you know, certain places, and he got over to Northfield there, and I said, listen, you know, you got to go learn how to win. Well, he went well beyond that, because he knows all about that. Now I'm asking him every day, how do you get that done? You know, so, yeah, he's learned really quick. And I don't know. I guess you really do, whether it's, you know, everybody's looking, even young drivers are looking to go to the big tracks first, and you know, you got to really know. I think you learn how to win, show your talent, and then go from there.
Okay, you've moved your tack, if you will, all across the country, raced on the East Coast at one time. How many?
We lived out there for I don't know, 6 years or 5 years or so.
That long? Okay.
Yeah. The wife and I, the first one was born out there, and I liked it real well. Great experience, good horses,
sure,
great drivers, a lot of class, a lot of great place to I'm really glad I did that.
So what can I ask? What brought you back to the Midwest?
Well, you know, a Midwesterner to being on the East Coast.
I understand.
And it's a tough, you know, they work hard.
Yeah.
I mean, toll takers to harness drivers to, you know, grooms. It's a constant go, and that's all they know. And it's a different situation if you're not used to it.
Sure. Well, we give our fans here at Hoosier Park and across the country for that matter a chance to tweet us some questions, tweet you some questions. So we've got 5 questions here that some of the fans have tweeted us here. Tom Dubrick asks you, Pete, do you like the 7/8 mile track here at Hoosier Park? How does it compare to the 5/8 mile ovals? And you know, driving styles change, or what? I guess what size would you prefer?
No, 7/8 is fine. It's a real good track. We got tight turns here. And you'll notice that, you know, coming off that past the quarter there, it really gets tight, and that's when you start getting a little slower quarter to second quarter here. But because it's just a tight turn, everybody's, you know, you don't, for the speed we go off the gate, you know, it's a big speed off the gate, and then we hit that tight turn. Then by the time you know it, you hit the quarter, and then it really slows up for an eighth of a mile, and but it's a big sprint home. But everybody has a chance finishing.
Is that all bad, having a slow second quarter?
Not at all. I'm the first one to do it. You know, sometimes I'll try to. I mean,
is that strategy?
It's good strategy.
Sure
I will try to take as much as I can. You know, I mean, if nobody wants to come from behind me, I'll steal as much as I can. But it's a certain track to get used to. 7/8 with tight turns, and everybody usually has a fair shot finishing. The wind plays a big part here. Big part. I mean, we could be going in to win finishing. We could be going in to win up the backstretch. You know how that goes. And another month or so, things will settle down. But it's a good track. It's a fair track. The 5/8 is a good one. It just doesn't give the crowd the sprint leaving out of there, the excitement of that. But
because you're starting on the backside.
Just because it's a backstretch. But as far as driving, I like driving the 5/8. You know, and the half, that's close up in excitement too. You know, the outside has a little difference. But this is probably one of the most fair. 9-hole, just, you know, I think if you got the 9-hole here, you got just as good a shot as winning if you had the rail.
So with that, would you rather have the 9-hole, the 10-hole, the trailing position?
Well, trail can sometimes get you in a little position that you don't want to be in.
Why is that?
Well, if you got 1, 2, 3, maybe clogging you up, leaving the gate, especially in stake races and so forth. You know, you got a horse that's on the gate. The 9 can, you know, like the other night with Freaky Feet Pete with the 9. I mean, who knows if the post positions weren't reversed. I mean, that put him into a tough spot against a great horse.
So now he's going to probably come off the other horse's back.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool to watch. So, 9 is definitely a handicap, but it can be done.
Okay, good enough. Well, Jacob Hall asks, and I think you've kind of answered this question already. First of all, he says you, Peter, have been one of his favorite drivers for years, and he would like to know what race is your most memorable race? And, of course, you've touched on that a little bit. Edward asks of you, was it a difficult decision to move your family from Michigan to start a new chapter here in Indiana? I know things got a little tough in Michigan.
Yeah, it did. You know, and I had a nice little playground up there. That was pretty cool. We had a beautiful place. We had a good program, great owners, and we were able to do. We had a lot of. We were lucky enough to probably have more power in the barn in Michigan than my competitors there, and it was a lot of fun, and so forth. But it was declining so quickly that, and my kids were at the age I had to do something, and it was either slow down and just take it, or prove that we could keep going forward and don't worry about it, and let's try another chapter, and I think that's what we did, and I think for my family's sake and mine, I think it was definitely the right move.
Good. That's good to hear. Then we've got a couple of drivers here that take a little jab at you, perhaps. Tyler Smith.
Tyler. Let's hear about Tyler. What's he got to say about me?
One of our drivers here to Hoosier Park. Tyler asks you if you think that you're, I'm going to paraphrase here. Well, not paraphrase. He asks if your old age is catching up with you, and how does that affect you on the track? You're only 52 years old.
Well, here's one thing I got to ask. Tyler Smith, if you're old enough, if you can even read, please take a look at the driver stats and see who's who here.
A lot of fun out there. And you're...
Oh, he's good. One thing is it's really a good locker room back there, and we jab each other all the time, and it's a lot of fun. And that's what it's all about. But out there, we're deep competitors, and
Sure.
and
All business.
after the wire, let me
Right.
tell you, if it's tight and Nick, and we've been fitting, it's right there. Like who's who, and
Right.
there again. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah. And your nephew asks, once you come to the day when you decide it's time to hang up your colors, who are you going to have catch drive for you?
Well, I have to call my nephew, but I don't know. I may not have the stock for him, so I have to go to the second in line, I guess. That's it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I got one good enough. Hopefully, I have one good enough that he'll like to drive. Maybe otherwise he may not take him.
So do you have a goal as far as you'd like to drive till a certain point, or how do you know? How do you know when it's time to hang up the lines?
No, it'll be told. It doesn't lie. It's like a good horse. They tell them themselves.
Right.
Right. Good or bad if they got problems, and I still think I'm competitive out there very well.
You certainly are.
Yeah, and I'm far from that. I think hopefully.
Oh, you are. You really are.
And I enjoy it. So I come with a smile on my face, and I leave with a smile on my face,
there you
and
go.
hopefully a couple wins in my pocket. And
there you go.
At that point, I'm not ready to hang it up.
Attitude has a lot to do with it. And then, of course, there is life outside of harness racing, and I think we are so any breed for that matter, the folks in any breed, we are so in tune. We live, we eat, we sleep harness racing. But you've taken up another sport, if you will, on the side, and this is on the backs of one of your horses. What is it? Cutting horses? I guess I'm not too sure.
Well, it's Rainer. It's a cutting blood. I've done a little bit of cutting, but my main, you got to have the cattle and so forth. And when I had my farm in Michigan, we decided to go with the reining horses. It's a little easier than run around with cattle all the time. But
what's the difference?
Well, one's they're basically they're a cow-bred type horse that are generations of they're a little more controlled maneuvers at a quiet or fast pace.
Okay.
And the other one, you're working a cow and so forth. So
there is a difference.
Oh yeah, there's a big difference in them. Yeah.
Well, let's watch
same type. I got stuck on through a neighbor when I came back from the East Coast, and I'm like, oh, this is me. Oh, where's this at?
Where's this at? Yeah, tell me about it.
I don't know.
This is on Gunner. This is your horse here.
Yeah,
that's your champion horse. What are we doing here?
Looks like I'm heading down the home stretch. Huh?
And then it's a matter of reining the horse bringing him to a complete stop. What do the judges look for?
Well, it's a controlled maneuver. Basically, they got to be able to do it in a respective match. Like right here, I must be schooling this horse. This is pretty slow motion here. This is where this is probably up in Gordyville. Maybe.
Gordyville over in Illinois.
It might be, yeah.
Okay.
That's looking like Gordyville. I don't think this here. This may have been a little schooling over there one day I went over, but this wasn't a very big show.
Okay.
He's a nice horse. I've had a few younger ones.
Okay.
This is the one I went a Congress over here last year.
Tell us about that.
That was a big win.
That's big time.
That was a big feather in my hat. A lot of bragging rights, a lot of trophies.
Sure.
It was kind of cool. Got a nice leather jacket out of the deal and lots of trophies. I was pretty proud of that.
Well, there's only 22,000 horses at the Congress.
Oh yeah, and you know what? There was a lot of 20-some-year-olds there, Tyler. So how'd you like that? Huh?
Here we got a couple pictures of you in action at the Congress.
Yeah, that's Congress right there. Yeah, he showed well there. He's a nice horse. I'm going to. I used to break a lot of the young ones to go compete at this level and try to get them to compete at this level. And right now, I don't have that luxury where I'm at. And I now
facility.
This horse is a little older. I took him to Florida with me, but I'm looking to I'll probably buy a yearling or something this year to take to Florida with me and have a little fun with and get him going. But compete in Oklahoma City in the fall, maybe in the Veturities.
With this horse here?
No, I don't know if this one will. Probably next year maybe with my younger one. This one here, he's easy to just get him back in shape. I mean, if I really want to tune him up for big shows, it's going to take 30 days or so. But he's just a lot of fun. He's a 5-year-old and he's done his deal and he's a lot of fun horse. He's actually a pricey little dude, and
would you sell him?
Oh yeah, I thought I had him sold a few times, and then actually I had 3 the same time I had him. I sold the other 2, but. It's a real expensive hobby that I can't afford, but I do it. So collecting cars, I guess.
Are you going to take it back to Congress this year?
Yeah, I think I will. I got to go in and I think I will.
Your
I think I'm going to do that. Yes, I am.
Good. Well, Peter, it's great to have you on board here, and good conversation. We always like to find out what's going on for you out there, and it's good to see that there is life outside of harness racing, and planning to go back to Pompano this year.
Yeah, I do.
To get your equipment.
Yeah, to get me equipment. But no, I think it's good. Just to stay active, you got to stay in the stir of the business, whether it's good or bad. However you're doing, you got to stay out there in the mix of things. And,
okay.
And we really enjoyed where we were. We had really good owners behind us and it paid off for them right off the get-go here. So
good.
I see that we do have to stay active. It's hard to stay at rest, and so I think I'm going to do it.
So you're saying that your horses were sharp, ready to go when they came to Hoosier Park.
Yeah, and I don't see them coming, leaving anytime soon either. I still think they are, but I really believe, in 60 days, the first 60 days, it well paid for its winner for the horses that were down there and training the 3-year-olds and so forth. So, yes, I do.
Okay, very good. Well, Peter, it's good to have you on board here. I know you got quite a few drives tonight. Have you looked at the program? Anything that catches your eye? Any hot tips is what I'm asking.
Well, the one in the first is scratch.
Okay,
so we won't bet
that one. No, we won't bet that one. Okay. Well, we are 10 minutes from race 1. Thanks for joining us on Behind the Lines. Best of luck, everyone. And don't forget, early post time tomorrow, Peter. Hope you got the Jeep back and get here early.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
First post time at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.